Hi, Julie. It's nice to see you today.
Hi, it's nice to see you too.
So, how have you been since last time I seen you?
Pretty terrible. I'm just so upset and can't seem to get past it.
Yeah, you told me you were having a bit of a tough time in our last session.
I just can't get out of this funk I'm in. Nothing is working, and my friends aren't making it any better. I don't want to feel this way, but I can't seem to feel better. All I want to do is just stay in bed.
Well, last week, when you rated the way you felt in terms of sadness, you said you were about a 5 or a 6. On a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being not sad, 10 being very sad. Where would you rank how you're feeling now?
Probably about a 7.
You're feeling a 7, so you would say that you're feeling pretty upset right now.
Yeah, I'm pretty down. I mean, it's not like the worst I've ever felt, but still pretty down.
So, Jolie, what are you feeling the most upset about today?
Well, my friends don't want anything to do with me lately. I swear nothing I do is right to them. I know they talk behind my back, and that makes me mad because we used to be so honest with each other. But now they're just being mean to me every chance they get.
So would you like to put this on the agenda as a priority for us to talk about today?
Yeah, it's definitely something I need to talk about. It's really bothering me, and I don't know what to do.
Anything else that may be upsetting you right now?
Well, I got a B on my chemistry test I took last week. I really wanted an A.
And on that same scale of 1 to 10 that we just used, how upset are you about that?
I would say a 3. Yeah, definitely a 3.
Okay, so you're saying that you feel about a 3. So you'd say that you're not that upset about the B?
Not really. I just think I could have done better, but it was still one of the better grades in the class.
Well, good. That's great that you did well on the test in comparison to your classmates.
Yeah, I was pretty happy that I did better than the one kid in my class. He's always so arrogant about what he gets on his tests and papers. He's the type of kid who thinks he should be teaching the class.
It's all about the little victories, huh?
Yes, definitely.
Is there anything else that's bothering you or making you feel upset today that you'd like to talk about or this past week?
No, not really.
So you're primarily upset about what's going on with your friends?
Yeah, I'm just having a difficult time with it.
I hear that you're having a difficult time with the situation, so we'll devote some time to it a little later in the session. Is that okay with you?
Yes, I would like to talk about it later.
So how's your back treating you since you got your surgery?
It bothers me some days, but a lot better than before I got the surgery. Before I could barely stand up or walk, and it even hurt for me to sit more than a half an hour, which made sitting through class pretty difficult. But it's still getting in the way of conditioning for softball.
Are you still able to do some of the workouts, or do you just have to wait a certain amount of time before getting back into it?
The doctor told me I'm okay to do some running and light workouts, but no heavy weights, especially ones that would put a lot of strain on my back. So squats are definitely out of the question.
So how's the coach been with all that?
She says for me to take as long as I need, but she definitely is becoming impatient with me not being able to do a lot of the workouts with the rest of the team.
So have you approached her about that, or are you just kind of letting it sit?
More so just letting it sit, but my teammates, who are supposed to be my friends, are getting mad at me too. I would think they would be supporting of me considering it's not my fault. I mean, I was in a car accident. I can't help that I'm injured.
Well, what do you think that they're mad about?
Well, I'm the team captain, and I'm going through some practices and workouts that they are. So they're mad because they don't think I'm putting in enough work to actually be in the position that I'm in.
Have they said something to you about not deserving being captain?
Yeah, they take little jabs here and there about it, and how it must be nice to not break a sweat, and how I don't know how difficult a particular workout was. Stuff like that, the passive-aggressive stuff.
Well, did they vote you captain, or did the coach choose?
The team voted.
Well, they saw enough in you, at least, and they thought that you worked hard enough to vote you collectively as captain. They might just be upset about other things right now.
Possibly, but I doubt it.
Is this a part of what you think is going on with your friends right now, too?
Yeah, it's part of it. There's stuff going on with my roommates, too.
Okay, so you're pretty upset about your friends from the softball team as well as your roommates. But before we get into the situation with your friends, if it's okay with you, can we go over the homework that we discussed last week to do for today's session?
Yes, I'm okay with that.
So let's just start by you telling me what exactly the homework assignment was.
Well, my homework assignment was for me to ask my roommates to hang out with me somewhere on campus.
Very good. So were you able to do the homework and ask your roommates to hang out with you?
Well, I asked them, but nobody wanted to do anything.
Did you have a difficult time approaching them at all?
I felt anxious before I talked to any of them, like I was about to give a speech or something. But really, I was just going to ask them if they wanted to go eat in the cafeteria with me.
So you're feeling nervous?
It was in my stomach. I felt childish, like I was trying to make new friends out on the playground.
Sometimes we're worried about how even our closest friends will answer us or react to something that we haven't done in a while. And yeah, you're right. It might be like trying to make new friends, especially if you're feeling disconnected from them. So you're about to ask your roommates to do something around campus. What were you thinking then?
I was thinking how they're probably going to tell me no and give me a look.
So you're ready for them to tell you no, and that they'll just shrug you off. So what are you thinking then?
I was thinking how I'll just go eat by myself again.
So you think that you're going to eat by yourself, and then what was going through your mind?
People will just see me by myself again, like they have every time I've gone to the cafeteria for the past couple of months. The other students will probably make comments about how I'm a loner or something like that. I'm thinking about how I'm eating by myself while the other kids are there sitting at tables with their friends and joking around and talking about classes and stuff, and I'm just alone.
So what were you feeling at this point?
Embarrassed. I was feeling embarrassed about having to sit in front of everyone.
So you're feeling embarrassed because everyone will see you eating by yourself. Are you really the only person who has to eat alone in the cafeteria?
Well, no.
So what are some of the reasons that the other kids might have to eat by themselves?
Because their friends hate them too.
You're in the sense that you're right in the sense that there's a possibility that they may be having some difficulty with their friends too. But what are some other reasons that they may have to eat by themselves or go there by themselves?
Well, I guess because they just got out of class and they have to get to another one before the eating period is over.
Any other possible reasons?
Maybe everyone else was just busy.
Maybe they just wanted to take a break from their friends.
You're right. I've been in that situation before.
So we've come up with some of the reasons why people might be eating alone, like that being the only time that they can eat, their friends not being able to go with them, or maybe just wanting to have some alone time while they eat. Now, do you think that other students have to eat by themselves or embarrassed to eat alone too?
I guess not.
Do people ask you why you're eating by yourself when you're in the cafeteria?
No. People either just say hi or we have a short conversation in passing.
So do you think there's a possibility that, for all they know, you're sitting by yourself for any of those other reasons?
They could think that I just got out of practice and I have a night class that I have to get to, or something like that.
So you can see that there's just not enough evidence to support the thought that everyone in the cafeteria will be judging you at all times for you eating by yourself.
That's true.
Okay, so you're feeling anxious, anticipating some embarrassment, ready for your roommates to tell you no. You're thinking you're going to be alone for another night by yourself in your room, and what comes next?
Well, I just tell myself to stop worrying and to ask them to go to dinner.
And how did you go about asking your roommates to eat?
They were sitting in the common room talking about some guy they were talking to in the square earlier, and I waited till they were done discussing it for the moment. I just asked if anyone wanted to go get something to eat and hang out in the cafeteria.
Were you still feeling anxious whenever you asked, or did it subside?
I was still feeling anxious.
So when you asked your roommates, you're standing away from them all, or were you sitting with them?
I was standing away in the doorway to my room.
And what was your tone of voice when asking? Was it like a happy, upbeat tone, maybe a sad, depressed tone?
More of a depressed tone. I couldn't really seem happy about it when I knew they were all going to say no.
And how did they react or respond to you when you asked?
They all just gave me some excuse why they couldn't go. But that maybe they might be able to go later.
So you talk to your friends, and they say, not right now, maybe later. And did they indeed do something with you later?
Well, one of my roommates did, but I think she felt bad for me.
Why do you think that?
Because she's the friend who can't say no to anyone. She'll feel too bad, and since she has to see me every day, I'm sure she didn't want to feel guilty. Plus, she knows I've been feeling pretty low lately and doesn't want to add to it.
Well, I think this is a good point to transition into our work together today. So how about we set the agenda for the rest of the session? Would that be okay with you?
Yeah, I really need to talk about this.
I understand talking about your friends is a pressing need of yours, so we'll start off with you telling me about what you're thinking and feeling about your relationships with your friends.
Okay, good.
Now, your friend group consists of both your roommates and teammates. Is there a specific group that maybe you'd like to focus on more today?
It's mostly stuff with my roommates this week.
Okay, well, let's focus our work on your relationship with your roommates then.
I can do that.
We'll talk about your roommates, and based on what you've been telling me so far, I have an exercise in mind that you could possibly benefit from called a cognitive continuum. Does that sound okay with you?
Yeah, I think I can handle that.
Okay, and after we do the exercise, we'll set some new homework for the next session. We'll summarize what we talked about today, and then you can give me some feedback regarding today's session together. Does that sound like a plan?
Sounds good to me.
So tell me about what's going on between you and your friends.
They just don't want to do anything with me. We were so close before my accident, but ever since then, it just hasn't been the same at all.
Tell me a little bit more about that. How are things different now?
Before the accident, we were the best of friends. Inseparable, almost. There wasn't too much we didn't do together. If someone else invited one of us, they just assumed the four of us would be there. That's why it was so nice to room together, because we all enjoyed being around each other all the time. I thought they loved me. We would do anything for each other. During the summer, we all pretty much hated not being at school. Not because we missed the papers or the tests, nothing like that, but because we couldn't hang out with each other. Now it is just completely different. They leave me out of everything. No one wants to talk to me. I swear they can't wait to get away from me.
It seems like there's a lot going on for you.
Too much for me to deal with. But these are supposed to be my friends, and they just ignore me as if I'm no use to them at all.
You say that you're no use to them. So what use do you think you had before to them?
I was someone who had to hear about their problems and stay up with them when they were crying. And when they needed a favor, they all looked to me.
So you would say that you pretty much did a lot for them.
I did so much for them. I would go out of my way just to make sure that they were okay and that they knew I was there for them.
Well, you said you sound like a really good friend to them. And how did they respond to you whenever you were doing all these things for them?
Well, they were always asking me to do things with them. And they would do the same for me.
What kind of things would they ask you to do?
Go over someone else's dorm or apartment. Go to a game on campus. Stuff like going out to dinner or to the bar.
So pretty much normal college stuff, I would say. And since you said that you're pretty inseparable, I think that it would be safe to assume that you would go with them.
Oh, yeah. Well, most of the time. Sometimes if I didn't have a lot of homework or a big test the next day. But for the most part, I would go and we would have fun. I felt like I was truly a part of something beyond just being someone they had to live with.
And you say that changed after the accident.
It all changed. They stopped asking me to do what we were doing before. They would go to a bar on a Friday or Saturday, and I would be left in my room.
That must have been really rough for you.
I just don't know what I did to not even be thought of by them. They just hate me.
I'm hearing that you feel that they have such a strong dislike for you.
They do. They hate me.
Well, let's talk about this some more. So you're having a good time together, everyone's getting along, you're enjoying the college life, and then you get involved in a car accident, and boom, they hate you.
Well, it wasn't all of a sudden.
So what happened in between those 2 points?
Well, with my roommates, I was just in my room a lot, and with my team, I was missing a lot of practices.
Well, Julie, let me stop you there if I may. How about we just talk about your roommates right now, and if we have any time later, we can talk about your teammates, or is that okay?
Yeah, sorry, I got a little off track.
No problem at all. So you were saying how you're staying in your room a lot.
Yeah, like before we would all go in the common room together, talking, watching TV, or listening to music. After the accident, I just didn't feel like being around everyone all the time.
So instead, you stayed in your room to kind of get away from it all.
Yeah, I was thinking a lot about the accident, and I was in pain because of my back. I thought I would never be able to play softball again. I was feeling really sad.
And did your roommates leave you alone? Or did they try to talk to you about it a little? Or
Well, they would ask me stuff, or come in my room and try to hang out, but at that point, I really didn't have much to say.
would they ask you to go out still, go to the bar, maybe have a little fun?
Yeah, but I really wasn't feeling up to it.
Well, that's completely expected after facing a traumatic event like that, especially when you think you're not going to be able to, do some of the things that you are so used to doing.
Yeah, it was horrible, but I just couldn't be that person right away, and they hate me for it.
Is there evidence that would support that thought that they hate you?
They just stopped being there.
Anything else in your mind?
They won't even talk to me.
You said earlier that your roommate hung out with you later that night that we assigned that you were doing the homework, and did the two of you just not talk to each other, or?
No, Amy and I talked, but it felt weird. I kept thinking how she's just saying to herself how much she hates me.
So you're hanging out with Amy, and all you think is that she hates you and doesn't want to be with you, but she doesn't want to make you feel bad.
Right.
Well, we talked earlier about doing an exercise called a cognitive continuum. How would you feel about doing that now in regards to how Amy feels about you?
I'd be okay with that.
Okay. So, I get this piece of paper here. I'm going to have a line. And this line, or continuum, is of who Amy dislikes and likes. And somewhere on this line, you will have a place.
I definitely would be on the hate end.
Okay, so you're telling me that you're all the way down on this back end of the line at 0%. And I'll label it hate. And on the other end of the line, at 100%, I'll label that love, which is what you described of how she felt about you prior to the accident. Is that true?
That sounds right.
Okay. Now I'm going to draw another line underneath. I'm going to keep the same rules as the continuum, where hate is on the back end at 0% and love is on the front end. Does that sound okay?
Yes.
Okay. Put hate there, and love at the other end. Now, can you name me one person that Amy 100% absolutely loves?
One of my other roommates, Stephanie.
Okay. So we'll put Stephanie on this front end at 100%. Now, from what you know about Amy, name me a person that you know that she doesn't like or may not be too fond of.
Well, she doesn't like this one guy named Sam. He bothers her all the time, and she's not too fond of him.
So where exactly would you put him on this line?
Probably like 40%.
Okay. So we'll say 40% is right here. And we'll put Sam. So what about someone who Amy just cannot stand to be around or talk to, or doesn't want anything to do with?
Definitely this one girl, Kristen. She is always complaining about her and doesn't want to go anywhere that she is.
Okay, so you would put Kristen down at 0%.
Definitely.
Okay. So you have Kristen at 0 and Sam at 40%. So where does that put you on this line?
Probably about 50.
Okay. So we have you here at 50%. Okay. So is there anyone else that Amy may like more than Sam, as well as dislike more than you?
Probably this other guy, Mike. She talks to him sometimes in passing, but they're more of just acquaintances from being in a few classes together.
So where would you put Mike on this continuum? And would that change where you are on the continuum?
I guess I would put him at 60% and move me to about 70.
Okay. So we'll put Mike at 60%. And we're going to scratch out you at 50. And we're going to put you up closer to the front end at 70%. So in any case, if you were looking at this for a different group of friends and you saw someone at 70% on this line, how likely are you to think that that friend hates that person?
Not very likely, I guess.
So you can see that maybe the worst thing in this case that you can say is that they simply like you.
True.
So in relation to your original thought that Amy hates you and doesn't want to be around you, how much do you believe that's true now that she hates you?
Probably about 30%. I still think that they don't feel the same about me as they did before. Maybe not hate me, but I'm not their favorite person.
Well, maybe they got the read from you that, you just weren't ready to do a lot of things and you were doing before your accident, like hanging out as a group and going out. And do you think there's a possibility that they maybe recognize that you need your space and that you're trying to be good friends and simply giving it to you?
I guess that's possible.
So you think it's possible that your roommates may just be giving you space and letting you find your own way there for a little bit? And so how do you think we can incorporate this into your homework assignment for the next session?
Well, I could give asking them to hang out another try.
So would you do anything different from this past attempt?
Well, instead of standing at my door, maybe I can join them in the common room. Or join the conversation before I ask.
So joining them and talking to them before asking to hang out. Anything else?
Maybe just asking with a smile on my face to show that it would make me happy to be around them again.
I think that sounds like a great idea for your homework. So you can ask them to hang out one more time as an assignment, and we can talk about it in the next session. Does that sound okay?
Sounds good.
So Jolie, we're coming down to the end of our session, and I wanted you to tell me about some of the things we did together today.
Well, we talked about my friends and how they're just giving me space instead of completely hating me. We used a cognitive continuum to demonstrate how there is a middle ground to my all or nothing thinking of how my roommate Amy feels about me.
Good. And what else did we do?
We talked about how others may not interpret me at lunch by myself as me being a loner or having no friends. Instead, there are a lot of other people in the cafeteria eating by themselves for multiple reasons. And there's no need for me to be embarrassed because the other kids may think I'm eating alone, because I have a class or just feel like being by myself for a while.
You're exactly right, Julie. And I'm sorry we didn't have enough time to talk about your teammates today. Would you be okay with talking about that in a future session?
Yeah, that's fine. I can deal with that for now.
Okay, good. Now, Julie, what exactly do you think are some of the things that you liked about today's session?
I like that we use the continuum for me to see that Amy may not completely hate me. I was really close with her, and it hurt me to think that she might feel that way about me. I don't think I fall into the category of she hates me, even though I'm not sure how she exactly feels about me right now.
Well, you may not completely feel loved again like you once did. Not many people are, especially coming back from that accident. But they, hopefully in the next few weeks, by joining your roommates or initiating contact with them, that might change. You might start having a better relationship with them again, or at least building that back up. So, what else do you think you liked about today's session?
Just that I was able to talk about what's going on. Since I haven't been talking to my roommates, it's been hard for me to get anything out to anyone.
I can see how that can affect you emotionally and, make you feel alone. But I'm glad I was able to help you with that. So, switching gears, going to the opposite direction here. Is there anything that you maybe didn't like about what we did today so that we can maybe, improve for whatever it is for our next session?
No, not really.
Well, thank you. Well, Julie, this concludes our session for today. I thank you for coming in, and I think we did some good work, and I look forward to our next session together.
Me too.